It was a night when Tottenham Hotspur, well, just about kept their heads above water at a drenched Liberty Stadium. With Harry Kane initially rested, Fernando Llorente returned to Swansea City to inevitably score his first league goal for Spurs in his first league start, but the fact it was offside will add more frustration to a tight 2-0 defeat for the home side in difficult conditions. Swansea couldn't quite keep the positive results going after claiming that weekend 2-1 win at Watford in Carlos Carvalhal's first game, but they did eventually get to the same level of performance and put it up to the top six side. It said much that Mauricio Pochettino felt he had to bring Kane on, the striker producing a brilliant assist that saw Dele Alli finally seal the game late on. That supreme pass aside, Spurs were otherwise not near the level they have suggested in the last two games. Something all the more notable because they have had a greater rest than anyone else over the Christmas period after their match against West Ham United was put back to Thursday. That won't overly bother Pochettino, though, because the ability to grind out wins on grim nights such as this is as important a quality as being able to overwhelm sides in the manner they and Kane have been doing. His contribution may have been needed, as Swansea also suffered the bad luck they really don't need right now, adding insult to their injured emotions. As predictable as Llorente scoring his first Spurs League goal against his old club might have been, it wasn't quite as predictable as the manner of it. A header, a few yards from goal, from a well-struck Christian Eriksen free kick. Dele Alli bundles home Tottenham's second goal. Getty. Llorente only slightly celebrated, and it was difficult to know how much of that was down to remaining emotion for Swansea and how much down to the suspicion he was offside. Except, there was no suspicion from anyone else. He was about a yard in front, so it should have been chalked off. As unfortunate as that was for Swansea, they couldn't quite say it was undeserved, because Spurs' pressure at that point had been as heavy as the rain lashing down on the Liberty Stadium pitch. All the home side had in response in the first half were two blazed efforts from distance. And the fact the team has come to this after so many years as a model club led to more protest against chairman Hugh Jenkins. On 27 minutes, the crowd chanted, "We want Jenkins out." The time of it a reference to the number of people in the American consortium the club was sold to. In 2016, Swansea did briefly rally before the break, but Hugo Lloris showed fine focus to meet and clear a few aerial balls in such conditions. This really didn't look like a night for goalkeepers. There was actually such a pickup from Swansea from then that it was difficult not to wonder whether Carvalhal had attempted something of a rope-a-dope in the first half hour, looking to see what Spurs were going to do. Renato Sanchez was meanwhile looking to do so much more on the ball, having been restored to the team with a much more assertive performance in the dramatic 2-1 win away to Watford at the weekend. The problem for them was that Spurs were still looking so solid and sharp, something that was always going to be aided by so much extra rest. Dele Alli and Harry Kane celebrate after combining for Spurs' second. Getty. There was still enough from the home side to entice Davinson Sanchez into a clumsy challenge on Martin Olsen, and another questionable call from the officials. The Colombian had already been in the book for an earlier challenge on the same player, but referee Bobby Madley this time kept his card in his pocket. Spurs were again fortunate, and it was probably not a coincidence that Mauricio Pochettino immediately removed Sanchez for the returning Victor Wanyama. It was conspicuous, however, that the Argentine was so conscious of what Swansea were doing that he eventually decided to bring on Kane for Llorente on 67 minutes. It was just then that Spurs endured their biggest scare. An offside Jordan Ayew was waved through both by the officials and the opposition defense to get around Hugo Lloris, only for Wanyama to clear, with Mike van der Hoorn then hitting the post with a header from the consequent corner. It was just when things were getting tense, though, that Kane supplied that terrific pass. He found Ali with a brilliant arching ball, and Ali found the net.